What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about, as you probably saw from the title and thumbnail, snake shot. Even though we're never supposed to nuke snake, sometimes we have to actually pop them, or other little critters of their size. And for that job, sometimes snake shot is what you use. So I was going to do 4 different calibers in one video, but you guys have short attention spans and you don't want to be here all day for a single video. We're going to do this in 4 different videos. Today we're starting with 38 Special. So no matter what caliber of this snake shot you're choosing, it's all going to kind of look the same. It's going to have basically a gas check in the front of it. So you're going to have that copper gas check holding back some shot. In this instance, it is holding about 80 grains a shot. I'll have the pictures up in the corner of the actual weights of things, but 80 grains worth of number 9 shot and a 50 grain hard cast projectile. It's basically just a disc. There's no hollow point or anything like that to it. It's pretty much a wad cutter. If we look on the back, it says it has 160 count, so 160 pieces of that number 9 shot. That's a lot of shot stuffed in that little tiny cartridge, which is basically a shot shell at this point. The firearm we're going to be using today is going to be a 4-inch Ruger Gp100, your standard .357 Magnum that of course we can shoot 38 Special out of. I'm choosing this gun because it's in between a lot of, 6-inch, 5-inch, 2-inch snubbies, things like that. The 4-inch is a very good size. A lot of people do actually pack these around or have them stuffed away for home defense one way or another. So as we test out of this 4-inch barrel, just use your own knowledge of your 2-inch, 6-inch, 5.5-inch, whatever gun, and just kind of apply it in your own mind. Of course, the best way you're going to know what it's going to do is run a box through your gun. This fine piece of artwork behind me is a basic target that we've also put a snake on top of. So this target will represent a defensive zone for defensive type of shooting and a snake if we're using it as actual snake shot. That's the thing about this. This has a hard cast projectile in it. So in my opinion, I'm thinking that this is meant to be loaded up as a defensive round no matter what, but also double as a snake shot type of round. If you're gonna launch this as a defensive round, it has that wad cutter, disc, whatever slug you wanna call it. And at close ranges, it's gonna be a tighter pattern with that shot. And at farther ranges, that shot's actually gonna dissipate pretty good. So it'll lose a lot of its potential energy downrange. I don't know if it would become that big of a liability, but no matter how you wanna use it, we're gonna be able to visualize it today. We're gonna do that at 3 different distances and then a very up close, almost contact shot. We're gonna do 15 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet, and then 1 or 2 feet right off that target to show you what happens when that really cones down. We'll put 2 shots here, 1 shot on the head, 1 shot over here. You guys are gonna get a good representation of the different patterning effects out of the different distances. Now, something to keep in mind is that point of aim, point of impact might be very different from some of the ammunitions you typically run through your guns. I have this zeroed for 158 grain full metal jacket, flat point, basic range loads, not too hot of stuff, just stuff I make for having fun on the range. So it's totally zeroed for that. We're gonna see if we get a point of aim, point of impact shift with this type of ammunition, having a pretty light projectile in it, and then of course shot. Also, we have an extremely windy day today. That won't affect anything except for audio. Sorry if anything comes through a little weird or glitchy. And I think that's all I have to say. Let's get to shooting. All right, we're gonna start at 15 feet. I know that seems a little close for defensive use, but 15, 20, 25 feet is usually where you might be at. With this kind of stuff though, we're gonna take into consideration that snake and the pattern. This might be about the distance you would get from a snake when maybe a rattler or something like that would go off and you say, oh crap, and you visualize something. So let's see what kind of a pattern at 15 feet so you're not too close to that critter yet. I'll aim dead center at that orange paster. Let's see what we get. Who forgot to load this? All right, now I actually have 6 loaded up. Let's see how this goes. All right, let's go take a look. So here's where I ended up with my projectile. That would have been fine for defensive purposes. I might have missed the center of my snake. That could have been my shooting, or that could be a point of impact change we're getting with that type of ammunition in this gun. So snake would have been actually, wow, he would have been terminated maybe by that shot right there. He's got one that's pretty much just an edge of flesh wound, and truthfully, we missed him with every other piece of pellet. I'm seeing a pretty good spread of pellets around this area. I would say he got pretty lucky, but that is a really good spread. I think there's probably a lot more pellet hits. I do see some all the way out here. Some of that is new, some of that is old. There's a new one. So that's a pretty good spread at 15 feet with a 4-inch barrel, at least this 4-inch barrel. But like I said, we could have got him with that piece of shot right there. piece of shot. That almost sounds like piece of you know what. Let's get a little closer and see what it does 5 feet more in. All right, now we are at 10 feet exactly, 10 of my feet. Had some bounce back of stuff coming off of that wood, so some of that number 9 shot is not super high energy. I felt a little bit spray me. Did you feel any, camera guy?
No.
Not any on him yet. We did hit the center pacer though. Let's take a look. So aiming right here, of course, we did put a shot in the dead center of the snake, and if this was any other type of critter, it would be dead center in that. I always consider defensive handgun cartridges, if they're in the handprint zone or the black zone of these targets, they're good enough for defense. So we know we're good for 2-legged critters, and then not much back here on the snake, a little bit over here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more pieces. So that would have done good at that distance. We have pretty good patterning in here. I do like that. I'm sure it's only gonna get better here if we move in 5 more feet. All right, we're 5 feet off this snake. This thing just appeared on the side of the path. We just got spooked. We pull out our gun and boom, we're gonna actually take a headshot on him because we're not playing around with him this time. I'm gonna aim right for the diamond on his head. And we got that diamond on his head. Let's take a look. So that snake is totally toast, and anything else you would have shot would have been totally toast if you were aiming at that target. But you notice that the pattern density is pretty good down here. It got plenty of pretty much cut all the way across. We see some going across there. It's not like a perfect pattern like you would want to shoot your competition trap stuff with, but it's a good enough, dense enough pattern, it's gonna get them. Now let's put one up here on this target, and I'm gonna get real close just to show you how that pattern is just gonna keep getting tighter and tighter. And if you had a pretty much right up close contact shot with a 2-legged critter, what it might do. It's actually kind of cool right here at about 2 feet. My sights on this gun are mimicking the sights on that paper. So I'm just gonna completely lay them in there. And yeah, that's a pretty darn good conical effect of doom right there for anything in front of it. That really chewed up that particle board, or OSB. That's a really good pattern. That would have actually just totally wiped out that whole paster. So up close, that is no joke whatsoever. Definitely a defensive round for 2-legged critters to get them off of you. Plus sending a disc through there, that stuff's flying pretty good, I'm sure. All right, now just for fun, I have 2 clays set up. One's about 10 feet away, one's about 15 feet away. And let's just double action, try to smoke them. Got one, got the other. So at least we were able to break clays. I don't know how good I would do if I crapped my pants after a snake startled me, but the clays are no problem. Bullet hole right through the center of that one too. And since we can, let's go ahead and pop steel one time, see what it sounds like. That was a little bit of a ring. Again, we were right around 15 feet off the target. You see various pieces of the pellets going there, and then there's the projectile. I didn't try really hard to aim, so don't count that against the ammo, but it definitely rang the steel a little bit. That put a hurting on you. I think it's pretty cool. I wouldn't take it out to the woods for bear defense or anything like that. I wouldn't try to hunt deer with it, but for 2-legged critters and under, I'd say it's actually a pretty good option. Super low recoiling, I forgot to mention that. Not a lot of recoil at all. It still does feel like a 38, but it's not heavy to shoot whatsoever. You do get a little bit of bounce back from those pellets, like I said, so be careful where you shoot this stuff. If you're inside of a grain silo, make sure you have your eyes on, but you also have a projectile in there, so remember that. It's not just birdshot, it is also a projectile. So defense against 2-leggers and defense against anything crawling on the ground. It's not just snakes. You got rats and things like that. Depending on where you live, you might be able to shoot at scorpions. That might be kind of cool. So we're going to be doing other stuff with this ammo. We'll put it into gel and whatnot, but we also have to try the other calibers. So if you like this video, make sure you're subscribed and check back pretty soon. We'll have the other videos up. We have 44, 45 Colt, and 500 Magnum to go through. We're definitely going to kick up the power. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you at the next video. And until then, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.